It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. You know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clipped Out Podcast, episode 389. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe. We are recording the day before Thanksgiving.
We are, because we're that dedicated.
We are. No taking a week off for us because of Thanksgiving.
No.
We're not lazy.
But we are thankful for all of our listeners.
Yes.
So this is a gift to you, even though you don't really traditionally gift on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And we do it every week, even when it's not Thanksgiving.
I know. I was just, trying to talk it up a bit.
I guess if you wanted to give someone a gift, we could make the bonus available to all Patreon people this week.
We could do that. Would you like to do that?
Yeah.
All right.
Like that'll be our little gift. We'll make it so if you've been wondering what the bonuses are like,
I'll make it free to everyone this week.
Free to everyone. And Patreon, you can join at the free level. So people that are joining at the free level can listen to this week's bonus episode. Maybe I should have waited till we recorded it to make sure we were halfway decent.
Well, we don't have to get up and go to work tomorrow. Maybe we should have a little drink, see if we can get more interesting.
Get all slobby.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you another thing.
Nope, save that for the bonus.
I'm not drunk yet.
Exactly.
So what, pray tell, do you have in store for people this week?
Well, we are going to be talking to our guest who is a Peloton community member, Jennifer Hecht. She has such a fun Instagram. She calls it a bookstagram.
Okay.
And it's electric_bookaloo. And she is very into Peloton and also very into books. So it's where the two shall meet.
Okay.
We're going to chat a lot about a lot of things.
She's very involved in the Peloton Moms Book Club.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
So if you hear from there, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're really into the Peloton Moms Book Club, I'm just going to call them out right now if you're listening.
Okay.
They shouldn't be listening.
Because they should be reading.
They should just read the transcript.
We have that for you too.
Yeah. It's over on our website. Go read the transcript. You book nerd.
From fellow book nerds.
Yeah. We read every night.
We do.
We do.
We also are going to talk about Affirm's technical difficulties. We are going to talk about new filters that Peloton's added this week, their new commercial they added. We're going to talk about an interesting mention that Peloton got in an article about Zoom.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about the most updated version of lawsuits that Peloton has. We've got a visit from Dr. Jenn. She's going to talk to us about balancing life's demands while coping with grief. Also, trigger warning if you are going to be dealing with grief. A lot of people, the holidays, it's tough. So just know that that's there.
Okay.
And then we are going to be talking about some rumors about Rad Lopez. We are going to be talking about Vande Velde. And we've got new instructor wellness events coming up. We've got a bunch of instructors doing things that they are working on big things. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
We've got new artist series news. We've got new tonal news.
Oh, yeah.
This is super interesting.
For
and we have new fight camp news.
Whoa.
I know.
We haven't heard from them in a while.
I know. There's also celebrity news. And of course, we've got a bunch of content to share with you. All kinds of stuff. And then, of course, our Patreon.
Before we get to all that, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you are there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review if you've never done that. That helps people, helps us.
It does.
But it also helps people.
It does.
But we are also people.
I mean, really, it's just helpful.
Yeah. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. You can check out our aforementioned Patreon, where this week's bonus episode is free to all comers. You just got to sign up for the free level. That's over at patreon.com/theclipout. What are we going to be talking about? The Lululemon Bandits.
This is a fun conversation.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to have this one.
A new survey/study on holiday weight.
Mm-hmm.
And
what more instructors are up to.
Yeah, I got what Matt and Andy are up to, and where you shouldn't buy your Peloton bike from.
Yeah.
So if you want to swing on by there, normally the Patreon costs you $5 a month and you get bonus episodes like we just mentioned. You get ad-free episodes. And if we get them early, you get them early. Also, don't forget you can watch all of these over at YouTube. And I know throughout the course of an episode, we throw a lot of links at you. And so if you sign up for our newsletter at theclipout.com, you will get a weekly-ish email that I've been on a good run lately.
I feel like you can just say weekly.
Well, when I said weekly like a week ago and you said weekly-ish, and so I just felt like if I said weekly,
okay, I got
you're
it.
gonna call me out on it.
I mean, if it were the roles were reversed, you would.
When have I ever done anything like that to you?
When have you not?
Name one time.
I can't name one time.
Exactly,
there's so many.
It's never happened. Anyway, if you sign up for the newsletter, it will come out weekly like clockwork. So that'll have all the links and everything to the articles and Instagram posts and things like that. So anyway, there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Peloton in the news.
Peloton was having all sorts of technical difficulties this week. The first one was a biggie in that I guess whatever the API interface.
Very nice. It is an API interface. Very nice, Tom.
Internet magic that makes Affirm sell products for Peloton wasn't working.
It's true.
Just in time for Black Friday.
Yeah, that's what everybody loves to see on their website. Honestly, it's probably one of the reasons they were having issues was because so many services do use Affirm these days.
Not in Australia.
But Affirm, that's true. But Affirm, I can't believe all those bikes got forgiven. That was crazy. Right? Okay, but stay focused. That was to me, not to you.
Oh, okay. Cool, because I'm not going to stay focused.
Peloton had a note on their...
Did you know that Vice President Spiro Agnew's name is an anagram for grow a penis?
So anyway, Peloton on status.onepeloton.com listed that their financing partner Affirm is experiencing increased latencies and error rates across services in the US and that members might be having issues completing checkouts using Affirm financing during this time. Spoiler alert. They were. The update was members will not be able to check out with Affirm at this time. So
I guess they're not members yet.
That's
for the
true.
most part.
That's true.
I mean, they could be buying a second piece of equipment, but
yeah, that does happen quite a bit. Yeah. But that was on the 25th. They did fix it on the 26th. So like within 24 hours, Affirm had it fixed. Peloton had it fixed. Everybody was good. So few indeed.
Did you know Ernest Hemingway used to write standing up?
I did know that.
Because I said that earlier today. Sorry, I was just being not focused.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
So also, Peloton was having some other technical issues.
They were and they are. So the guided scenic rides are failing to load for some members. Spread the news because not everyone thinks to go to status.onepeloton.com.
My guess is not only do people not to think to go there, but I feel like shots fired.
Okay.
So
okay,
it's a hot take. I'm going to guess that scenic ride users are even less likely to go to onepeloton.status.org.
It's status.onepeloton.com. Yeah. But yes, I think that is a fair point. But the fix has been tested.
They're just going to tell them it was dark out.
And they're going to start rolling out fix.
We did this one at night.
But they're not going to start rolling it out until December 16th. So it's going to have to just wait a little bit.
I feel like this is a window into how popular scenic rides are.
I would agree. But they do have a workaround listed here.
Okay.
So it says if you have the issue in the meantime, use this workaround. You start a scenic class that isn't guided. So use the distance or the time.
Okay.
Exit that class and then start the guided scenic class and then it will start.
Oh, it's like when you would walk into a movie theater backwards and make them think you were leaving?
Just like that. Yeah, it's just like that.
It's the digital equivalent of that.
It is that, yeah. Okay. Yeah, not really, but okay. So yeah, there you go.
Problem solved.
Problem solved.
Why didn't you think of it in the first place, you dumb scenic rider?
But at least since they're not going to start rolling it out until the 16th of December, that they have a workaround. That is improved communication. I mean, I remember back in the day.
Yeah.
You didn't even get a communication that something was happening.
That you're just like, is it me?
There was no status.onepeloton.com. You know what there was? There was the OPP.
Oof.
Yeah. But the OPP was nice.
helpful back then.
Then everyone banded together and came up with solutions together.
There would be assists.
Yes. And it's not like there's no assists on the OPP, but it's just like it was everyone banding together.
Yeah.
Now it's like you get a nice person in the middle of all the bitching. You also now get 18,000 of the same post.
Right.
Whereas back in the day, they would point you in. Anyway.
Yeah.
So the other issue that they have is the mixing on device feature has been disabled. People have been posting a lot about this. It's been disabled because there were isolated reports of music and instructor audio being out of sync. So until they get it fixed, they are going to be turning it off. So they're hoping to have that turned on the first week of January. I think that it is notable that they are having all these issues this week because this week, I mean, right now it's Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. It is turkey burn.
Yes.
And last year, we broke the servers. We broke the internet. It's not the first time we've broken the servers.
Yeah.
You know, there was the great Lizzo breakage.
Yes.
And there will be again. So I think that it is notable that all these things are happening. I also can't help but think that, you know, there might be other things in the background we can't see that they're working on because usually they don't assign time frames and push things out. This is new. So I think there's more than what we're seeing happening in the pipeline. But hopefully,
yeah.
they are working so hard.
They don't have time for these.
They're making sure that everything's perfect for turkey burn. That's
So
my hope.
By the time you're hearing this, you will already know the answer.
Exactly.
We're time travelers.
We're just being hopeful.
Yes. You can now filter yoga plus Pilates.
Yes. And I'm so excited about these.
Apparently, this is important.
It is important.
I don't know.
Because when you go into yoga, there are so many different classes. There's yoga flows and there's restorative yoga and there's a lot of different kinds. These specifically mix yoga with Pilates and it's brand new. So there's only 3 classes on the platform. I know because I filtered on this morning and took a class.
Yeah.
Actually, it was last night. But the point being that if you want to take these classes, it can take a minute to search through that.
Right.
There's also Pilates classes. So searching for Pilates is not going to help because then you're going to get every Pilates class in your search results. So having the ability to filter on this is huge. Also, I just have to say, shout out to Anna Greenberg for doing these classes because I love being able to take them. I'm not a person who, like, I don't take the time to do Pilates classes by themselves. I want to be that person,
right?
But I'm not that person. Having them built into a yoga class feels like a 2-for-1. Now I'm getting yoga and I'm getting Pilates. So it makes it a lot easier for me to make the time for that. Okay. So plus they are amazing classes, very effective.
Well, now you got a way to easily find them.
Yes.
Peloton also dropped a new commercial this week.
They did. I mean, it was their new holiday commercial.
Right.
I love their holiday commercials. You know, they always have like a sense of inspiration, but also a little bit of like sweetness to them, you know, but it's just, I don't know. I just really like them. I always think they do a good job.
Unless you're the Peloton wife.
I mean, I liked that commercial. I was one of the apparently few people that liked that commercial.
That's because you're a misogynist.
I think, I'm sure there are some that would say that, but I also think that they could have done themselves a huge favor with that particular commercial, the Peloton wife.
Yeah.
By simply adding one more thing.
One line of dialogue.
One line.
Would have fixed it all.
Everything.
Just letting us know she asked for one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And then a whole thing happened.
Yes.
Anyway, I don't think this commercial will be raising any like turmoil. I think it's just a commercial.
Sometimes you can't tell.
I mean, I couldn't tell on that one.
Till the turmoil has been turmoiled.
That's so true. The internet turns on you. It's big.
It is.
It's unstoppable when you're Peloton.
You never want to be the main character on the internet. That's what the kids say.
That's true.
We came across an article this week about Zoom and its reinvention.
Yeah.
Got a little Peloton mention buried within there.
It did, but I feel like it's a little bit interesting. Like even if Peloton didn't get mentioned, I think that it's interesting because both of these were pandemic stocks, right? They were both pandemic, like they got huge during the pandemic. How many family members do people have that had never used Zoom before the pandemic? Right. And then everyone got good at Zoom. Except for my family, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Then, you know, Peloton clearly went through the same thing. Since then, both companies have been really struggling to find their way.
Yeah.
And so Zoom is approaching this with an entirely new relaunch. and they are just going to call themselves Zoom. There's no Zoom video. It's just Zoom communications.
They're more than just a video company.
They're trying to be, yeah. And, they're trying to integrate.
I feel like this is if Taco Bell changed their name to Bell.
Yeah.
We do more than tacos. And then everybody shows up and just be like
Chalupa Bell.
I just want a taco.
They're also claiming or trying to push the image that they are an AI first company. I think they're going to have a lot of trouble with that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of AI tools out in the market at this point. I mean, so many of them. This is so late coming to the market. And honestly, you need to make it easier for people to use your product and not put all these stupid time limits on it and find ways that aren't there needs to be more tiers to Zoom. Yeah. That's what needs to happen. And that's their issue. They just haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just thought it was kind of an interesting parallel that both companies have been struggling.
Sure. And I was listening to a podcast this week about how Carvana had the same issue.
Yeah. I remember you telling me about that.
Their stock during the pandemic shot up to $350 a share, and now it's at $3.
Yeah.
So
even Peloton's been doing better lately.
Yeah.
They're almost at $10 a share.
Well, maybe Barry McCarthy's going to take over Carvana. Start some rumors.
Peloton in court. Who's suing Peloton now?
Speaking of Barry McCarthy, and I feel like he deserves credit for this.
I think I would have to agree.
I know he's not in the legal department per se, but it seemed like one of his missions was knocking out lawsuits.
Absolutely.
Right? They were really they
cleaned up.
And I feel like this is just a late coming dividend from the Barry McCarthy era, but they were locked in heated battle with Johnson Health over
Health Tech.
Yeah,
excuse me.
Johnson Health Tech had sued Peloton, saying that they infringed on their patents on treadmills.
The Tread and the Tread Plus both had infringed. It was something about verifying
your exercise usage or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And they just won 3 of those lawsuits.
They did. Yeah. The Patent Trial and Appeal Board had 3 decisions that they issued today, and all 3 were boom, 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 denied.
Just in time for the holidays.
I mean, that's awesome.
Unless you work at Johnson Health Tech.
I mean, hey.
Is Johnson Health Tech a real thing?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember the details, but I remember that they are somehow linked to I'm making this up. This is not the correct thing, but they're linked to somehow to Nordic Track or something. It's
they're like a division of something else.
Yeah, it's because the company is one of those umbrella companies, and it's got all that stuff underneath.
Gotcha. I didn't know if they were just a patent troll.
No,
or they were,
no.
the guy who I talked into a cassette recorder one time, so I invented podcasts.
Right.
Everybody owes me $1.
Yeah, that guy can F off.
Yeah. Coming up after this, we're going to talk to Dr. Jenn. She's going to have tips for balancing life's demands while coping with grief. So stick around.
Getting the psychological edge with Dr. Jenn.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube, it's Dr. Jenn Mann, licensed marriage, family, and child therapist and sports psychology consultant. You may know her from VH1's Couples Therapy with Dr. Jenn, or VH1's Family Therapy with Dr. Jenn, or her long-running radio show, The Dr. Jenn Show. She's written 4 best-selling books, including The Relationship Fix, Dr. Jenn's 6-Step Guide to Improving Communication, Connection, and Intimacy. It's Dr. Jenn. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh,
Hi.
I've missed you. I'm so glad you're back.
I've missed you too. And welcome back from the marathon, which is a huge accomplishment, even though by the time this airs, it will be a couple months, but it's still, I think I'm going to celebrate it every episode for the next few months, maybe the next year.
I should start bringing my medal down when we record.
I think you should definitely wear that medal for the next year on every episode, because it is a huge accomplishment that should never be overlooked or forgotten about, even for a moment.
You're the best. Thank you. I just need you in my ear all day long, especially on bad days, especially the last couple weeks. If I could just get Dr. Jenn on repeat, that would be great.
Well, you can't for 7 hours.
Okay, fair enough.
Next fall.
I'm scared to think what my life would look like if Dr. Jenn was listening to everything I said.
Well, that made me blush.
Wow, I didn't even mean it dirty.
I know you didn't, but
but I enjoy the fact that you took it that way.
Absolutely. I love that.
Oh, I'm sure there's a question that we need to get to, Tom.
For sure.
Is it dirty?
Yeah, no.
It's
Okay,
far from it.
honestly, I'm gonna bring this down a notch because this is a super serious question, and I know that everybody deals with loss. So this question is from our sweet helper bee, Nikki Smith. She said that after losing 2 close family members in a short period of time, I feel like I haven't had the proper space or time to grieve either of them fully because life's obligations and responsibilities keep demanding my attention. How do you navigate grief when it's layered, when one loss compounds another and daily life doesn't pause to let you process it? How do you balance the practical demands that can't be put on hold with a genuine need to grieve those losses? I want to honor both my grief and my responsibilities without shortchanging either one and without feeling like I'm existing in survival mode all the time. Oh,
I get it. Like, first of all, Nikki, I feel you. I really understand. And it kind of boggles your mind when you lose someone who you love so much that the world has not stopped and stood still because your pain is so enormous and so immense that it's kind of unthinkable that the world has gone on. And you've had 2 huge losses. And by the way, also what you said about things being compounded was very astute, because also any other losses you've had in your life now, historically, other people you've loved and lost, even pets you've loved and lost that you never fully grieved, that grief is going to be tacked on to this grief. So it's really important to understand that giving yourself the room to grieve is a necessity. It is important for your psychological well-being and your ability to move on in your life and have happiness again and have mental health and all of those things. So to answer your question, first of all, part of the reason why grief and loss groups exist is because of exactly what you're saying. And the reason why therapy exists is that it forces us to carve out time in our very busy, hectic lives in order to tend to our emotional needs. One of the great things about therapy nowadays, post-COVID, is that it can be done online. So you don't have to lose like in LA, everything is 30 minutes away. So like you don't lose the 30 minutes each way. So that's an hour plus parking. So that can be like an hour and a half easily. So I really want to encourage you, Nikki, to carve out the time, a minimum of once a week for a session a week to take care of yourself, to process your grief, to deal with all of this. And 2, if you can find a grief and loss group, especially an online group, if time is an important element, to look into what are the local resources. Like in LA, there's a place called Our House that is a grief and loss support group that they have great groups for kids. They have groups for adults. They have incredible resources. And most states, most cities have something like that for people who are going through grief and loss. Also check with your church, your temple. Any religious organization typically has those kind of support groups, or even reaching out to a hospital, or you can also call up a local hospice organization to see if they have any grief and loss groups. But there are a lot of different organizations that typically have them. And I think that that's going to be really important for you, because you're right on the money in your observation that this stuff that does not get processed gets stuck, and it's very hard to move forward. Grief is a very shockingly up and down roller coaster of an experience. We like to think that things in life are neat and organized, and we hear this like Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and like, oh, I can do this and check it off. Well, first of all, originally that was actually for the dying patient, but I do believe that it's very applicable to the people who have been left with the grief and the loss. And it's messier than that. You don't check off and like graduate from one and move on to the other. You can go back and forth between 2. You can go back and forth between anger and sadness in a 5-minute period or less. Like grief is messy. It is grueling. It is exhausting, and it is necessary. So it's really important that you give yourself the room, because also when we don't process that grief, I personally believe a lot of it gets stuck in our body, and it gets stuck in us physiologically with aches and pains and sometimes even disease. And it's very important that you let yourself talk through it and let go of it.
Yeah. I was also thinking add isolating to your list of awful things.
100%. Look, grief is incredibly isolating. And that's why grief and loss groups are particularly great. That to have that experience of, oh my God, I'm going through that too. And there are things you go through in grief that are confusing, because again, our idea of what grief looks like and what it really is so different. And there are times where you go through something and you're in a grief and loss group and you say, I'm having this experience, and someone else goes, me too. I had no idea it was connected to grief. Like I didn't know, like, because so much of what you're going through now is through that lens, and we don't even always realize how much.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm sure that will be very helpful to Nikki, and I know she will appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. And if people would like to follow you in the meantime, where can they find you in all the places?
You can find me on social media, especially Instagram at Dr. Jenn Man, 2 N's on Jen, 2 N's on Man. And I also do post a lot about grief and loss, since I lost my mom a little over a year ago, as many of your listeners know. And so this is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Instructors in the news.
We are officially going to start a rumor.
Yeah, although I'm really unconvinced about this rumor.
Okay.
I just want to be very clear. I feel like I already have to talk down the rumor before it even starts.
You're no fun.
I know. Sorry.
I knew we should have started drinking. Is Rad Lopez moving to the tread? We're just asking questions. We're basically the Joe Rogan of Peloton. I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking.
God, gross. So here's the deal. Rad Lopez posted on Instagram this week. He said, something's cooking. Truly excited for what's coming. Take a guess. And here's the thing. A lot of people are guessing that he is going to be on the tread. And maybe he is. But
I think he's pregnant.
Well, that could
That's
be
my
too.
guess.
That seems very likely.
That would be big.
It would be. But the thing is, if he is, it's kind of a misleading photo.
Right.
Moving to the tread, not pregnant.
Okay.
Because he's in the strength studio in this picture. So that's why I'm just like, he might just be playing a game and trying to throw us off.
Right.
A lot of instructors have been moving around to different whatever the word is that I can't think of right now.
Modalities.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that has been happening a lot. But him being in the strength studio, I don't know. It doesn't feel right.
You're not feeling it.
I'm not feeling it.
Okay. But there's apparently something in the works.
Something's in the works.
From one Rad Lopez.
Yes. And a lot of people really feel like it's the tread. So like, I will be happy to admit if I am wrong.
Christian Vande Velde is officially a Power Zone instructor.
He is. And I have to say, I kind of always thought he was. To be honest, it's been 8 years, coming up on 9 years. And I have never taken a Christian Vande Velde class, not because I don't like the man, because I don't know if I do or not. When I first got into Peloton, it just didn't pull me in. Right. His classes intimidated me. Then whenever I got like super into training and stuff like that, I was already like, oh, I want to take this class, this person's class. You go through stages of the Peloton life. So I just never had a stage with Christian Vande Velde. But I always got the impression that because he was a pro rider and because Matt Wilpers kind of brought Power Zone training to Peloton from pro riding, that like in my head, he's just always taught those classes.
Right. No, that makes sense.
And I will say that when we posted this, one guy that kind of gives criticism about everything gave some criticism that like he's always been a Power Zone instructor, but Peloton never branded it that way. Never. And so they used to call it his pro rides, and now they've got real routes and something else. But now he officially has Power Zone classes. And when they did the big global instructor class 2 weeks ago or whatever, the 120
global power zone thing.
where it was 9 instructors. Christian Vande Velde was also part of that. I guess that when he calls out any of his classes, he kind of uses zones. And that's why some people feel, one person sent me a message and felt that he's always already done that.
Right.
I kind of had that impression too. This didn't feel like big news, but Peloton never called it that. So it is big news from that perspective.
Yeah. So does this mean
he's still a guest instructor?
But okay, I get that he has been elevated to it's like SNL. He's still a featured player.
Yeah.
Right. But does this mean that we will get more classes from him, you think?
I do, because just in the last 3 months, there's been on a more regular basis. So my theory is that they are kind of using his classes to kind of sprinkle in when they send those other instructors out for 12 weeks at a time.
Okay.
So they're kind of using it. They might film some of his. Some of his have been live, which is a first in a long time. It's not a first, but first in a long time. So I think
first without a dry erase board for the leaderboard.
Kind of. Yeah. And so I think that they're kind of approaching it differently with him as they've kind of renewed that relationship. It's not like he ever wasn't a guest instructor, but it had been a really long time since new classes.
I mean, there was a period where it had been so long, people were like, is he still really
a guest instructor?
Or is it just something he did once?
But he talked about it publicly that I want to get back to Peloton. I'm just having trouble getting in the studio. I like getting in at a time that works for everybody. Right. And so something changed somewhere along the way, whether it was his schedule, Peloton's schedule, how they're scheduling things. I don't know. But I think it's cool. And I'm glad that he's there. I know a lot of people really enjoy his classes. He still intimidates me though.
We have multiple opportunities for you to meet Peloton instructors at various winter wellness events.
Yes. The Peloton instructors are headed out to the stores. So we've got Alex and Matt are going to be at Tyson's Corner. I'm sorry. Let me say that again because we have 2 Alexes now.
Oh, yeah.
Alex Toussaint and Matt Wilpers are going to be at Tyson's Corner on December 5th. Cody and Adrian are going to be at Yorkdale, which is in Canada, if you don't know.
Oh, I would have thought that was in
the Canadians are so excited to have this event because it's been so long.
At Yorkdale, I just thought it sounds like somewhere where they would have fought the American Revolution.
Absolutely. That's going to be December 8th. And then Allie and Rebecca are going to be in Skokie, Illinois, December 7th. That is in the Chicago region. I don't want to get yelled at again. Actually, I don't really care.
Especially by Chicagoans.
I know.
Chicagoites.
I don't know, but they are really, really worried about where their boundaries. Sure. Yeah.
Susie Chan posted an intriguing behind-the-scene photo.
She did. Yeah. I thought this was very interesting because she posted this photo where you can see her in the tread studio in London. And she has all these people around her, like all these techs and background people, behind the scenes people. Background people sounds a lot negative, a lot more negative than I meant it to be.
They are beneath us.
Yeah, I definitely did not mean that. And then she's standing there and they're in the middle of the room. So they're in front of the tread and she's like working on some things. This is behind the scenes. Any guesses? So whatever you want to make of that.
She's going to be a tread instructor. Did I get it right?
I mean, she is a tread instructor.
Oh.
So technically, yes, you got it right.
Yes.
But I'm curious.
I'm Clip Out Crystal now.
I'm really curious about this one, though. Like, what does that mean?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Ulta Beauty is going to host an Ally Love meet and greet. This is not a winter wellness event.
It is not.
Not a winter wellness event.
Thank you. It'll take place in Miami, and she's part of the Joy Council member, the Ulta Beauty Joy Council. It's a thing, apparently.
Okay.
She's a member of that. And so this will be taking place on December 5th. And you can sign up for tickets at eventbrite.com. There's a link that will be sent out in the newsletter. If there's any spots left, kind of
my guess is by the time this gets to you,
probably not.
It's not gonna be.
But hey, might as well check, especially if you're in the Miami area.
For sure,
you're right there. Swing by.
Jess Sims had a little announcement in one of her classes the other day, and that she has recorded a split program.
Yes, so we have that to look forward to. That's so fun. Another program. I think they're fun. We have like a little strength and then a little cardio burst at the end.
Yeah.
I think they're fun. I haven't taken any, but I like the idea of them.
You like knowing that they're there.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. 2025 is going to be the year of strength for me. So
Okay.
I could see me taking one of those. It's just, I love tonal so much. I do. I really do.
We're going to be fighting over the tonal in 2025.
Yeah. I'm trying to get my workouts done in the morning, so I'm not in your way when you decide to work out.
Coming up after this, we're going to tell you about the latest artist series. And speaking of tonal, we have some new information about them that might help push you over the edge in terms of getting one. So stick around.
Peloton artist collaboration.
The latest artist series features Nirvana.
It does. You know, we talked about last week that they had the whole 80s, 90s time machine week. This was the other half of it. It's really weird. Like, I don't really understand their timing or how they were trying to present it. I think that was kind of a fail. But I'm all for Nirvana, so I don't really care. I mean, I love Lionel Richie. I love Nirvana. It's all good.
Yeah.
But I don't really get the whole time machine at all. Anyway, if you want to take some of these classes, there are several classes that you can take. There's an outdoor run, yoga flow, 2-for-1 ride with Charlotte and Mela. There's also full body strength, yoga conditioning with Kira, a ride with Jess King, and a row with Katie, and a run with Susie.
Okay. All I could think about is, so we've been watching on Peacock, Homicide.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Taking us back.
Which is like a prestige drama from the early 90s.
I still have yet to really get into this one, but yes, we're watching it.
I will say it doesn't hold up as well as I remember. Like at the time, I remember this being like really good, and like now it's like this is kind of cheesy by today's standards.
That last episode.
The last episode was really cheesy, and I have a feeling it's going to get cheesier. But it's funny because like the reason I'm mentioning this, is because whoever was writing a show like that, you have to always come up with different character names, right? Because there's different victims every week and different suspects, and so you're just churning through names. MASH had a similar issue. MASH would always take like baseball players from like the 40s and 50s that the writers of the show liked. So it'd be like, it wouldn't be like, hey, our new patient is Colonel Hank Aaron. It'd be like somebody more obscure. And whoever was writing the show must have been an early fan of grunge because they keep name checking people from grunge bands that weren't a big deal yet, because like the one murder suspect I think was named Lane Staley from Alice in Chains, and then yesterday one of the suspects was named Chris Novoselic, which is a guy from Nirvana.
You were like, what? Wait a second.
Yeah, I was like, I chalked up Lane Staley to just an odd coincidence, but when the next episode we get a Chris Novoselic,
I call that's intentional.
Like, somebody's doing something. Like that's not an accident.
Well, now we have to look up every random name from now on and see if they were band member names.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, that's the rhythm guitar player from the Screaming Trees.
Yeah. I think we're gonna have to do a deep dive. This could become a whole separate podcast.
Pop culture memory hole.
Okay. By the way, no one else wrote in saying they knew what the hell a memory hole was. I'm just saying. Not like nobody had a problem with it. They were open to it, but nobody had ever heard of that term either. It's not just me. So.
Well, then maybe that's for the best.
That's true.
No one else has used it.
Well, wait till they hear it. Somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody will Google. There it is.
Checking out the competition.
We have two fascinating competitors stories this week. The first, Tonal.
Yeah.
As everyone knows around here, we dig Tonal. And they have expanded their HSA, FSA eligibility.
They are now working with TrueMed, similar to Peloton.
Right.
And now you can access strength training on Tonal Fitness System and use your HSA and FSA dollars. So that's really cool because a couple of things. Hashtag not an ad, by the way.
Yeah.
Not getting paid a penny for this. You can save an extra $1,000 during Black Friday on the purchase of a Tonal. But if you have TrueMed, or rather your HSA/FSA works with TrueMed, you can use your dollars towards getting a Tonal. That is a freaking game changer. That is so exciting.
Sure. Do you know, can you also make your monthly membership payments out of your
it says
FSA?
Place an order for your Tonal. I'm looking to see here. It does. By the way, the discount, the $1,000 discount is good till December 3rd. So it's coming up.
Yeah.
It can, CAN, be combined with pre-tax savings. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying. It does not say anything about using this for the membership fee.
Gotcha. Just
So,
curious.
Yeah, which is $59.95 because I know somebody will ask. Last time I checked.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking of previous advertisers that we dig, Fight Camp.
which is really cool. Fight Camp has always been fun. By the way, also hashtag not an ad. I just happen to love Fight Camp as well. They just, you know how they have kickboxing classes.
Right.
They just released new sensors for your legs. So now you can track your kicks and your punches.
How about that?
That's really cool.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you're doing kickboxing, you want to get credit for it.
Yes. Kicking is exhausting.
But they are now expanding to Canada.
They are. And it's cool because Fight Camp was founded in Canada. So for them to be able to sell it there now is so exciting. That's really, really cool. I mean, they're just very near and dear to my heart because they're nice people.
They were very nice.
And like they still interact with me like on social media and like ask questions about things and like they're just nice people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just think that's really cool. So good for them.
Peloton celebrity sightings.
We have another celebrity sighting. I can't remember if we've talked about this one before.
I think
or not.
we have, but I think it was years ago.
Okay.
But this video was just too funny not to share.
Yeah, but Erin Andrews from Fox Sports was talking about her in a TikTok video that's going around. It was talking about her love of Peloton and how she embarrassed herself in front of Robin Arzon.
Yeah, the context of it is apparently Erin Andrews was like working out at the gym, her gym, and Robin Arzon walks in and she just like goes up to her and totally fangirls. Yeah. Like she was like, oh my God, you're Robin Arzon. And like, I'm Erin Andrews and I'm from Fox Sports, blah, blah, blah. And I love you. Like the way she tells the story is so funny. Like her eyes and her eyebrows are like way up at her hairline the whole time. She's so excited, even retelling the story. Yeah. Like it's really, really great. I definitely recommend a viewing of this because it's nice when you see celebrities this nerded out about Peloton like the rest of us.
Exactly.
New content.
It is time for the TCO Top 5, where we ask you which classes are cool, and then you tell us which classes are cool, and then we select some of you and trust your opinion, and then share it with the class.
It's so succinct.
About classes.
Yeah, you really nailed it this week.
The TCO Top 5. Ta-da.
How about just classes that you selected by the community?
I didn't select them.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So anyway, the first one is a music ride. People really raved about this one. In particular, Susan Gray sent me a message. She was so excited about this class. It was the 20-minute Lionel Richie ride that Leanne Hainsby Aldis taught on November 18th. And she said it was so much fun. All caps.
It was so much fun. She made a clay bust of Leanne Hainsby with her eyes closed.
That's weird. She said, great ride, fabulous music. She turned it up and the whole house was singing. I highly recommend, especially for those of us who grew up in the 80s. This ride will keep, this is Tina's little ad. This ride will keep you going all night long.
How about that?
I love it.
We'll be pedaling on the ceiling.
Oh, and it started with, Tina outdid herself with the puns on this one.
Start with hello.
Is this the ride you're looking for? Nicely done, Tina. Nicely done.
Number 2, your favorite Power Zone ride, which is pun free.
And it is pun free, but you do have to go back and scroll a little bit. This is from November 6th of 2023, a 30-minute Power Zone that was taught by Christine. And Karen Marquez said she's taken this class a couple of times. She loves the structure, and more so, she loves Christine's narrative. This is the ride where you see the enthusiasm of a little girl and the wisdom of experience. Just love it.
Okay, number 3, your favorite strength class. You should bookmark it because you have so much strength in your immediate future.
That's true. That's true. I should. Okay. This class is taught by Logan Aldridge on November 25th, and it was a 20-minute chest and back. Gwen Ishmael nominated this class. She took it as her 1,000th strength class. Ooh. Wow, Gwen. Can we just take a moment for that? And she got not 1, but 2 shout outs. Congratulations. But what she really loved was Logan's encouragement plus an awesome playlist. And that made it a new favorite.
Okay, number 4, your favorite recovery ride.
Okay, so this was taught in February of 2024, the 23rd. It's a 20-minute recovery ride, and it was taught by Hannah Corbin. Karen Smith nominated this ride, and she said, Hannah doesn't get enough love. It's true. Hannah really doesn't. Karen loved how Hannah will have you focus on a tight area mentally and then push releasing energy to that area. A great recovery ride all around.
And then finally, your Unstackable.
This Unstackable was taught by Rad Lopez, and he's in the strength studio.
Soon to be a tread instructor. Guaranteed, according to Clip Out Crystal.
No. That's not what was said at all. But anyway, this is a 30-minute class, and it was taught on November 23rd. Kimberly Ray Jessup nominated this class, and she said that this was an unstackable kick my butt class. Now, she was there. She was able to take the class in studio, and she said she hasn't held a plank for 2 minutes, not on her knees, in ages. 2 minutes? Oof. Well, I'm not taking that class.
Never gonna get stronger with that attitude,
it's
Missy.
True. It's true. Kimberly says that the peer pressure and Rad watching her helped her with that. Well, great job. It's very nice.
We will now take a look at this week at Peloton. Of course, this will have already happened by the time you hear this, but turkey burn.
Listen, it always does. Every week we talk about it. These classes have already dropped, so it's no different.
That's fair.
But what is different is that a lot of these classes, people are going to want to take live. So this one is different in that regard. There's going to be several on-demand classes, though. There's going to be a 30-minute Fit Family, a 30-minute Turkey Trot with Kirsten. By the way, the Fit Family is going to be taught by Adrian and Jess Sims. There's going to be, for the first time ever, a 10-minute post-meal walk that's going to be on demand.
Fart walk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then there's going to be a 20-minute turkey burn row with Alex K. Now,
instead of a fart walk, I think for Thanksgiving, it should be a 20-minute get away from your crazy family walk.
Yeah.
A 20-minute.
I felt that.
Jesus Christ, just shut them up walk.
That's true. But live classes on Turkey Day. Let's talk about this. Brand new this year, The Feast. Okay, so this is going to be at 7:30 a.m. Eastern.
Okay.
It's going to be live strength, and it's going to be taught by Adrian, Andy, Camila, Logan, Rad, and Rebecca.
But you'll miss the parade.
Well, it's 7:30 Eastern. I thought it started at 8.
I thought it started at 7. I don't know. Maybe you won't.
We don't know.
Okay.
Also, then there is the great Turkey Burn Run with Alex Toussaint. That's at 9 a.m. Eastern. And then...
But you'll miss the parade.
That you will, yeah. I guess you could run while you're watching. And then at 10 a.m. Eastern, a 45...
But you'll miss the dog show.
I don't care. 10 a.m., a 45-minute turkey burn ride. Now, this is the one everyone worries will break the internet.
Yeah.
Definitely what we broke the internet last year. So hoping that all goes well. Also, don't miss the gratitude gathering meditation. That was live today at 8 a.m. Eastern, but it can still be taken on demand. But
don't worry. There's no risk of people's gratitude breaking the internet.
That's the truth.
We're just not that grateful.
And on Friday, there's also going to be a 30-minute yoga flow with Kira. And there's going to be a live outdoor jingle jog. That's also new this year. More importantly, it's the second ever outdoor class live.
Okay. Helper B Nikki reviewed the Peloton's Max Out Row class.
Well, she did, but I wouldn't really call it a review so much as that she kind of was just telling people why these are important classes and not to sleep on them. And they've been kind of just dropping these on demand. It's not a whole lot of fanfare. Mm-hmm. Although, if you haven't gotten a chance to watch Alex's video that he did releasing this, I think it is a must watch. Nikki pointed out that he is Peloton's most underrated comedian. And I would have to agree with that. He completely straight face used all of the teenage lingo. It was great. Absolutely great. And it was about his own class, which was amazing. So anyway, these classes, they build explosive power. They, of course, improve cardio fitness, and they enhance athletic performance. So whether you're training for something like running, or you just want to train you're doing a triathlon, it doesn't matter. These classes are awesome for you to have cross training on.
Awesome. And we will have a link to that article and to the silly Instagram video in this week's newsletter.
In case you missed it.
Peloton has released wellness essentials. Will there be oils?
No, actually, there will not. But what they did do was put out some items that are specific for recovery and power and such like that. But it's, of course, it's all designed for holiday shopping.
Sure.
So keep that in mind. But they have this like Polar Tech fleece neck warmer. That's like the kind of thing that's out there. So like, let's say you're a runner or you're a biker, keeps your neck warm without having to wear like a scarf.
Gotcha.
That's not comfortable. I don't know if you've ever run outside in a scarf.
I've never run.
Right. That's kind of why I was like, I don't know why you're giving me that look. Like, this is such a crazy idea.
If I were to be chased, I'd just be like, you win.
You win. They also have things like, a sleep mask and a journal that you can write in, pajamas, things like that. So they're putting some of these items under prep. So they have them kind of listed out in like these different areas. So prep is like you're writing in your 5-minute journal and you're getting ready to reflecting on your day and what's going to happen.
Gotcha.
That's your prep,
Okie dokie.
I'm just telling you what they did.
I just can't imagine. I'm getting ready to exercise, but first I will journal.
I mean, there's a lot of people that do.
Okay.
I don't know where people find the time for these morning rituals.
Yeah.
I wish that I did. So
we also have a Black Friday sale from Peloton Apparel. So now is the time to stock up.
we do. And I just have to say that it was at 40%. And just today, they ramped it up to 50%. And a lot of people got a lot of good deals. So you just, they refresh those throughout the weekend.
Yeah. So it might be at 60% by the time you hear this. It could be at 110%.
They're giving you money back.
$4 for every pair of leggings that you order.
Boy, you are really coming out with the fake news today.
It's the world we live in now. It's what works.
No comments.
And coming up after this, we're going to talk to our interview of the week, Jennifer Hecht. She enjoys books, and so do we, and we talk all about it. So stick around.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
Joining us today via the magic, I will put magic in air quotes.
Yeah, you should.
Of ZoomTube. It's Jenn Hecht. Hey, Jen, how's it going?
Good. I'm glad we finally got this working.
Oh, for the listeners, the technical difficulties on this one have been epic.
Yeah, I don't.
Epic.
Yeah. It's
we still don't know why things are working,
but we're just gonna go with it.
But we're just gonna hope for the best.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jen, I always like to start these interviews by kind of going back in time. Give us some information about how you originally found Peloton and when that was.
Sure. I mean, I think I have a somewhat typical story in that I got a Peloton during COVID. Maybe the difference for me is that I had been going to spin classes in an in-person studio before that for about 4 or 5 years. So I was never an exerciser in my life. Like, I was not an athlete. I never did anything. Maybe I went to like yoga class once a week. And then I tried like a beginner spin class at like a local boutique studio. And for whatever reason that clicked for me, I started going twice a week, 3 times a week. And then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And at first, in fact, while I still went to that studio, people would leave to go to Peloton. So I'd heard of Peloton, but I would think, well, why would you want to do it in your house when you could go to studio and see people and it's interactive, right?
Yeah.
And then it was COVID. And actually, I rented a bike from the studio, which had like super, super low tech, barely worked video. And then I was like, wait, like that was when I thought the world would be shut down for 4 weeks.
Sure.
I was like, wait a minute, this is not happening. And my brother-in-law, who had never done a spin class in his life, had gotten a Peloton. And he was like, you have to get a Peloton. And I kind of did the math and said, wait, if I end up renting this bike from the studio for like, a few months, like a Peloton will basically pay for itself. And then I got the Peloton and I never went back. The world opened up. And then now I was the opposite, saying, why would you want to go in person when you can do it from the convenience of your own home at any length and at any time of day and
on your schedule
anything.
And not fight for a bike and
exactly. And not have to like leave time to park and get there and get your bike. Because of course I was one of those people that like had my bike.
Yeah.
Like, Oh, now we're going to have a new technical problem called my cat trying to get on the Zoom.
As long as your cat doesn't turn it
Yes.
off, that's okay.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, since it sounds like you came to exercise and fitness like later in life, like was there a precipitating issue or moment where you're like, I
no
should
issue.
do this?
Probably the biggest impetus was that I stopped working. And so suddenly I had time to exercise. I did like a little bit of the opposite of some people. I worked when my kids were little. And then when my daughter was like 10 and my son was 6, I stopped working and became a stay-at-home mom kind of late in life. So they were in school. So I had time to exercise during the day. Before that, I mean, I would join the gym, but like never go.
Right.
You know how that goes.
Totally. No, that happens a lot. That makes a lot of sense.
For
Now,
sure.
you've been on the platform for a while now. Are you a bike only person or do you do other classes?
I do it all. I mean, I do the bike the most. I have more than 900 classes on the bike, but like, that's what I always tell people when I'm like one of those people that's like part of the cult of Peloton, right? Like I'm still trying to like sell other people to get it, or even people who don't have a bike. I'm like, you don't know, their yoga classes are so great and their strength classes are so great and their stretching classes. It never would have occurred to me in the past to do a stretching class. Like I love their stretches. They're amazing.
They are.
So I do a little of all of it. I'm not really a meditation person and I'm not a runner, but I will do like an outdoor walk, or I'll just go for a walk with my family and track it in the Peloton.
Yeah. It's nice that you have the ability to do all of those things and it meets you wherever you are.
And also, like when I first got the Peloton, I was doing it too much, I think, on the bike. Like I was getting on the bike 5 or 6 times a week. And I think that was too much. My hips started bothering me. So now I try to do more 3 times a week. But for whatever reason, for me, some people say working out at home, it's not motivational enough for them. For me, something about those blue dots motivates me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to do it today, or I don't have time today, but of course I have time to do a 10-minute core class or, a 10-minute yoga class. So I try to do something like 5 or 6 days a week. There was a time where I was trying to do like every single day for a year, and then like you miss a day and you forget, and then you're really sad and your streak goes away and you cry. But I have never missed a week. So I think I looked before we got on today. I think I'm at 221 weeks. I've never missed a week. If I miss that, then I'll be like really, really, really sad.
That's devastation right there.
Yeah, I recently lost like a 4 or 5 year streak on tonal because
Yeah.
we went on vacation, and I was like, and I was like, I'll open up the app and let it do something, and I totally forgot, and
Whoopsie.
and I lost like
That's
it
sad.
was like 4 or 5 years. That's
like, really sad.
Now when
like
I log
you
in,
lose a 30-day streak, you're like, I can get that back. You lose a 4 or 5 year streak, and then you're like, oh, forget it.
yeah. Now when I log on the total, and it's
You're like, now I quit.
Yeah,
Forget the tonal. I'm done.
it's like 18 weeks, and I'm like, not really though.
Well, so what got you interested in the Peloton Mom Book Club over on Facebook?
So I've always been a big reader. So when I got the Peloton, the funny thing to me was like, it connects you to people in real life too, right?
Yeah.
I posted on Facebook like, hey guys, I got a Peloton, who wants to connect with me? And one of my friends was like, I'm in this Facebook group, Peloton Moms Book Club, like you have to join it. So I joined it. It was smaller then. I don't know how many people now.
It's a lot.
It has like 45,000 people, something like that. But this was 4 years ago. So it was definitely smaller, but it was still a big group. But I just was like, these are my people. They're moms. They read and they use the Peloton. Like, and I'm in a book club in real life, but like mostly with people who read, that book or maybe like 1 or 2 other books a month. So it was just fun finding more people that are readers and that read a lot. And I started to like make friends on there, just like people do on, any Peloton affinity group, right? You get to know the names of people who post a lot.
Absolutely.
So how does Peloton Moms Book Club work in terms of like, are there like actual book clubs where you all land on a book and read and discuss it? Or do people just kind of post like, oh, hey, I read the latest whatever and it's really good?
Yeah, more of the latter. I mean, at one point they were trying to do like a monthly Zoom, sometimes with an author, but with 45,000 people, you can't really have like a real book club.
Right.
And there's only like 2 moderators of this giant group. So kind of like ebbs and flows with how busy they are. Authors definitely want to be a part of it. So sometimes they'll do like a live Zoom and an author comes on and talks about the book and everyone can ask the authors questions, which is really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
But otherwise it's just, people posting, hey, has anyone read this book? Or, some of my friends that I've made through that group, we have a whole thing. You could have like a bingo about it. Someone posts, I'm not liking this book. Is it worth continuing? To which I always say, if you don't like it, you can stop reading it. Like just because I loved it doesn't mean you'll love it.
I know,
but,
it's so subjective. Why do people even ask that question? I'm just like, you really need the world's permission to stop reading a book? You are
I think there's like the FOMO aspect, right? Like you're afraid that like you're going to stop right as it gets really good.
But
and
if I think it's worth it, doesn't mean you're going to think it's worth it.
Yeah, but I mean, I will say I've read books that were slow starts and then I power through and then it really they're laying the groundwork and it really pays off. And I'm like, oh, I'm really glad I stuck it out. But more often than not, it's like dating. More often than not, if you got to power through, it's probably not going to get real good.
Well, also, again, like asking a huge group. If you ask your friend who knows your taste, they might say, that book started slow, but I think you'll really like it. But if you want to know, half the people will say I hated it and half the people will say I love it. And
that's the part that gets me. And that's all Peloton groups like that, because over in the OPP is like a mean version of that. But if somebody's like,
really?
I have this question, and then you get 18,000 sarcastic responses, one real response, and then buried somewhere in the middle is like an actual helpful thing.
Right.
Right. Because also no one can use the search function. So they can't see that someone's asked that before.
I think most people don't even realize that Facebook has a search function.
But now it has that AI bot and it helps you see it, but still people don't read it. I swear people just like to ask questions that are obvious. I was watching.
I think it's the same way people just like to talk to hear themselves talk.
Yes.
Well, we have a podcast, so we can't.
That's true. We are those
talk
people.
to hear yourself talk professionally, so that's okay.
We've been doing that for 8 years. So
you longer than that.
But people want to hear you talk. That's the difference.
Well, they want to hear Crystal. I'm not so sure they want to hear me.
Okay, but then how did you get from the Facebook group to starting your Instagram account where you're all about books?
Right. And so it actually was because of Peloton Moms book club. People there started talking about, I just recently started a Bookstagram. Does anyone want to follow me on there or, give me advice? I didn't even have a personal Instagram account, which is crazy. I was old fashioned enough to have a Facebook account, but I was I don't understand Instagram. But then I thought, an Instagram account just about books, that I could do. I read a lot and I can talk about books. And so I said, okay, I'll try it. And then because of Peloton Moms Book Club, I could post there. I just started one. Here's my username, and so I kind of connect with a bunch of people right to start. And then there was a group of us from Peloton Moms Book Club on Bookstagram that decided we would start a little book club just for us. Not like Peloton Moms Book Club with 45,000 people, but a group that now it's basically 12 people. And that group has been going for 3.5 years. We text each other every day. We've all become really good friends. I've met some of them in person, some not. We all follow each other on Peloton. We say, I'm doing my whatever milestone ride, and people get on the bike and do it together. So Peloton really changed my life in that way too.
I love that.
That is awesome. So do you have a genre of choice that you tend to focus on, or is it just you're all over the map and it's whatever tickles your fancy?
I read a little bit of everything. I'm one of those people, I like to change genre pretty much every book I read. Mm-hmm. So I'll read a contemporary fiction, then I'll read a mystery, then I'll read a rom-com, then I'll read a historical fiction. About the only thing I don't read is horror. That's just not really my thing. But I read pretty much everything. And I read a lot. You would think for all the time I spend online since starting an Instagram account, I would read less, but somehow instead I read more. I now read usually about 20 books a month, which is insane to me.
A lot.
I'm jealous.
Yeah. Yeah.
I talk about this on the show sometimes. I am a famously slow reader. I read very, very slowly.
He reads like I run.
Yeah. That is true. In fact, I think
But you know what? It's not
faster.
a competition.
It's
like
not.
if you enjoy
it's
do
just
your
frustrating
thing.
because it's like I would like to read more things, and it's just I'm so plodding when it comes to my reading. But I will say, and because Crystal gets jealous of this, like my reading comprehension is like crazy
He
high.
remembers every detail that he reads. So like if you ask me about a book I read last week, I have very little memory of it. But Tom will tell you a book 3 years ago that he read.
I remember I read a book. I'm a Kindle guy. Like like
Kindle reader.
Amazon
Kindle from Peloton.
Kindle, not Kindle Tool. And
Oh.
so I'm always like on like buying like the $2 books. Like I don't like to pay full price for a book, so I'm always buying like cheap books. And so I bought a book one time because it was on sale for like $2, and it was just, I mean, in real life, this book must look like Stephen King's The Stand. Like it was just massive, and it took me like months to read it. But I was like, I got done with it, and I was like, this book was really good. Like it's one of my favorite books now. I'm like totally love this book, and I convinced Crystal to start reading it, and she gets like halfway through it, and she's like, "Oh, I read this."
Wait, now I need to know what book it is.
I don't know.
It was, see, she doesn't know. But I know. It was The Passage.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
That is like one of my favorite books of all time.
Yeah.
So good.
We're kindred spirits.
and we're kindled spirits. And it was on sale for $2, and it's a massively long book. And then I get to the end of it, and as good as it was, it's like there's 2 more, and I was like, you son of a bitch. And then but it was so good.
He paid full price.
I paid full price for the other 2 because I wanted to keep reading it. So that's how good it was.
Okay, well, so first of all, that is one of the few books that I still remember, and I probably read it 10 years ago because I loved it so much. But also, have you heard of the library? No.
I get
Libby,
a lot of my books.
If your library has Libby,
Yes.
Libby is like an app where you borrow ebooks. So like I used to do the same thing as you, Tom. I would just like only buy books when they were on sale for $2. But now I find like almost everything. I guess it depends on your library system.
Sure.
Well,
yeah.
You can if you're willing to wait, you can get from the library. And if you have a Kindle, the trick is even if you're a slow reader, you put it in airplane mode and the book doesn't disappear when your loan time is up.
Actually,
That's a
it
little
won't
Kindle trick.
It won't disappear if you download it and then start. As long as you start the book, it won't take it back.
People say that, but I'm afraid to try that. But I just keep mine in airplane mode.
That's okay too.
And so part of it is, so I signed up for a newsletter that comes out daily that gives you all the like books that are on sale in your genres of choice called Book Gorilla. And so I also use that as just, that's kind of how I browse books because it's like when I go to the library,
it's overwhelming.
It's so massive. I don't even know where to start. So here I'm like, oh, it sends me something for $2. You got me. And I'll snag it. And,
but like you can look up that book and see if your library has it. And if
true.
they do, the Libby app, like you can make a wish list. And so
Also
you just
true.
like mark like, I want to read that book. And then what you can do is, or somebody tells you about a book, I want to read that book. And then later on, you can go, if you don't want to be on hold and it has a hold, you just go to your wish list and you filter by all available. The other thing I would recommend that I never did before I was on Bookstagram is audiobooks. I don't know if you've ever tried that. I thought I'm not an audio person. Right. Guys, don't kill me. I don't really listen to too many podcasts. I like to read.
Well, thanks for
also
joining
read
us.
the transcript of your podcast.
Now you know why we've had so many issues. This was your karma for not listening to podcasts.
But I thought like I'm just not an audio person. But then I felt like in the car, when you're doing laundry, when you're cooking, when you're in the supermarket, like you can listen to an audiobook and then that just sort of adds more while you're on a walk. It adds more reading time to your day.
It does. Yeah. I'm not a big audiobook person, but when I was training for my marathon, I did do it then on some of my long runs.
That's a long time of running and I'm even just listen to music.
Super slow. Like again, super slow. So like when I was out there for 6 and 7 hours at a time, I had to switch it up. I couldn't just do the same thing for 6 hours.
And she was still finishing books faster than me. I haven't gone down the audiobook rabbit hole because I do listen to a lot of podcasts.
You do listen to podcasts.
I figure if I started doing audiobooks, I wouldn't
listen to podcasts.
You're probably right.
I wouldn't listen
have
to podcasts.
time for podcasts.
And then there's part of my brain with audiobooks that I'm like, this is cheating.
Well, it doesn't work for the cheating in my mind, but if I am driving, I completely tune the book out.
Yeah.
I do not hear the book. Like I stop listening. And so that's why I don't listen to it in the car. Well, and I don't drive anymore.
That's right. I won't talk on the phone in the car. That's too distracting to me, but I can listen to a book. It's
Fascinating.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I have thought about like, there are like classic books that I want to read that are intimidating. And I've always thought maybe I should do the audiobook. Like if I want to do like War and Peace, like
Sounds awful.
I don't know that I could read War and Peace, but if
Wow.
But do you know how many hours that might take to listen to it?
but do you know how many hours it would take me to read it?
That's true. But do you listen to your podcasts at 1.0 or do you speed them up?
I don't speed them up. I am a purist.
Because if you listen to War and Peace on audiobook, I bet if you go look it up, it says it's like 100 hours.
Probably.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't commit to anything like a book that long.
I'm intimidated by trying to learn all the Russian names.
You know, I am not really like bothered to read classics. Sometimes I'll read them if my kids are reading them for school, just for interest. But I'm like, I'm not reading for like education.
Exactly.
I mean, sometimes I am, but in general, I just want to read to have fun. And so like, that just doesn't appeal to me.
That's
no,
how
I get
am
that.
Too.
But
That's how I am.
but part of me is like, this is a classic for a reason.
No,
right?
I
Like,
get that. I get that because you've
yeah.
shown me movies that I didn't think would be worth my time, you know. And then I've watched them and I'm like, oh, that was really good. Like I'm really glad I watched that.
Yeah.
But it's a lot harder commitment.
But even like Pride and Prejudice, which so many people is their favorite. I read it, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or something. Like I liked it. It was cute for its time, I can see, or for something that you might be assigned in school. It's fun. But like I love modern day Pride and Prejudice retellings more than I loved the original Pride and Prejudice. So.
I'm with you.
I totally get that.
Okay, we got to get back to Peloton.
Okay.
I'm curious. I'm curious which is now. You said, and when you were going back and forth, we were talking about we were trying to set up this interview, and you were telling me that you have read like all of the cycling instructor autobiographies. So
that's true.
I'm curious, which was your favorite and why?
Which is my favorite and why? Well, one thing I will say is I'm not a big self-help person. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to take self-help from anybody, it probably would be a Peloton instructor because they're already doing a little bit of that, you know, when they're teaching you the class. But for that reason, I find all their personal stories really interesting. Sometimes I tune out a little bit when they start then trying to make that like a metaphor for your life. So for that reason, my favorite is Cody's because his is a little bit less self-helpy. And to the extent it is, the book is called XOXO Cody. For anyone who's done his XOXO Cody rides, the self-help in the book is sort of more like that. It's sort of more relationship oriented rather than, you know, apply it to like the lessons of your life or exercise or that kind of thing. Plus, he has a really interesting story. He alludes to it sometimes on his rides, but like he had a really tough life. And like the book is actually like kind of deep, like deeper than I expected it to be.
I think that the instructors have interesting stories for how they arrived at Peloton because Peloton couldn't have been a life goal for them because it didn't exist.
It didn't exist. Right.
Like so many times if somebody's life story is like, I want to be a famous actor. And then it's like, well, I was in plays in school and then I went to a college for it. And then, or, you know, there's a more kind of traditional path that's been laid out.
Right.
But, or even if you in a famous rock band or something, it's like, well, a bunch of guys start a group and then, you know, we start playing out around town. Like there's this kind of rhythm, but like to end up at Peloton, which like I said, wasn't even an option for people. So everybody's story, I think, has this kind of odd element of happenstance about it. That wasn't
an option. And a lot of them went to Peloton before it was very famous. So it's not like they were doing it to try to get famous either.
Yeah.
Alex Toussaint's story is really interesting too. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever, like he's talked about it in other places, but like he was a janitor at a health club and then like asked if he could teach a spin class. So like,
and then
that's pretty cool.
And it's very cool. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's also interesting just because most of the bike instructors are the older generation of Peloton. And I don't mean age related. I mean the first generation of instructors at Peloton. And then when you get to the tread instructors and the rowing instructors, a lot of them had followings and got there in a different manner because they were hired for different reasons. They were hired, you know, not because they're not awesome instructors. I'm not taking away from anybody, but it's just there was a different thought process behind their hiring.
Yeah.
So that's also part of why it's different too.
That's true.
I think also for people that were at that level when Peloton first started, there was maybe even a concern that like,
What would happen with Peloton?
is this company beneath me?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I'm bigger than the company.
Right.
And now I don't think there's anybody in the world of fitness that would think that they're bigger than Peloton.
No.
That still works there.
Yeah.
Oh, saying.
Yeah.
Shots
Yeah.
fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said it.
Shots fired.
That's true. Go ahead.
So do you have a preferred instructor?
So my two like top favorites, and that's really been the case the whole time, are Cody and Leanne, just because they're so much fun. I really actually do like a big variety of them, but I'm someone I pick up based on the music. I never do like the HIIT classes, the interval classes. Like I'm trying to exercise, but I'm also trying to have fun. And so I always know, like, no matter what mood I'm in, like I'm going to be happy when I finish a Cody or Leanne class. And then like who my next few are, it changes. I do a lot, but like I love Ben, I love Jen Sherman, I love Robin, I love Allie. Like the list goes on. There's just a few either whose energy doesn't vibe with mine, or because I pick for music, like I like Alex, but he mostly plays music that like it does not appeal to me. So
Right.
I don't do those rides.
I totally get that.
I was laughing because I don't know if you realize this about yourself. Allow me to analyze you. You're approaching your Peloton class selection in the exact same way you approach your book selection.
Wait, and this is even more true than you know, because just like I'm telling you to create a wish list on the Libby app for books, I'm that person that has like 1,000 classes bookmarked on the Peloton app. Like no joke. And like I go every day or every couple of days and I look at all the new classes and I decide which ones I want to bookmark. And then I'm like, okay, today I'm in the mood to do like a 30-minute class. Like what have I bookmarked? Because I already know I'm going to like the music. So I'm very methodical, but I also want to have fun.
That's
so
awesome.
That's my approach to life.
That's consistent. I
No,
love
that
it.
makes total sense.
Well,
And that's like my account. My Instagram account is a book only account, except also Peloton, because when I do something Peloton related, like I went to Ben's book event in New York. I went to Cody's like big book launch in New York, which was amazing because maybe like 20 or 25 instructors were there. That was really cool. I like almost passed out. Or like if I go to a Peloton class, like I'll post that too. And I'm like, hey guys, sorry, it's like a non-book day. And you know what? Sometimes those posts end up being the most popular. So.
That's awesome.
Well, and I was going to ask what your leaderboard name is too.
Oh yeah. So I'm Jenn on the leaderboard. My name is Jenn. I'm trying to remember. I know my son came up with that. I think I was like trying to come up with names. A lot of names were taken. I thought, oh, Gen X, that would be funny because my name is Jen. I'm Generation X, but that was taken. And then he was like, what about X Gen? It's kind of the reverse, but it's also like X-Men. So that's what I went with. Plus, it's short. Yeah. It's easy to say. Like that's now it's very hard to get a shout out, but like I did get some. And I think it's part like some people's names are so long and I think they probably look at them and are like, I can't even pronounce this or know what this name is.
Absolutely. It's sliding by them real fast.
Yeah.
And it's a bunch of letters and there's vowels missing. It's tough.
So do you have any advice for people just entering the world of Peloton?
I mean, I always tell people, just try a bunch of different things, try a bunch of different instructors, try a bunch of different types of classes. Like, don't assume like I didn't like that. And so it's not for me. You have to try a bunch. If you've never been on a bike before, I say, try the beginner classes, but also don't worry if you can't hit those numbers. I've been going on like a spin bike for like 9 years and I can't go really fast when I'm standing up. That's just not like part of my skill set. So like, I don't care. Like if I can't go at 80 standing up, I don't care. I'm going to go 50, like and turn up the resistance a little more instead. So more just like try to do. And also maybe it's not for you. Not everything is for everyone, but I do think there's some kind of exercise anyone could enjoy. So whether it's Peloton, tonal, a different discipline, the tread, the row, whatever, like just keep trying until you find something you enjoy. Because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to stick with it.
Absolutely. And then finally, give us a book recommendation.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure.
You only get one.
I don't know. And only one. I got to give you two. I'm going to give you my top 2 books of this year. I think I may have already read like 200 books this year, but I've only given 2 books 5 stars.
Wow.
Okay.
And they are Sandwich by Catherine Newman and After Annie by Anna Quindlen. I also gave The Passage 5 stars, Tom,
Okay.
but like, I'm not sure that those books would be for you necessarily. I think they're a little bit more geared towards women. So let me give you a book, like written by a man instead.
Gotta find a
So I will
book.
say
I feel like
all
I've
the
been
colors,
profiled. Like
all the colors of the dark by Chris Whitaker is what I'm going to recommend.
Okay. And what is that? What is that about that you think would
Just
appeal
read it.
One,
to
it's
my manliness?
sort of- do you know it, Crystal?
No.
You looked like maybe you knew it.
No.
I just was thinking like those two in particular. Not that like a man couldn't read them, but like some books I think are geared more towards
No,
women
that for
readers.
sure. Like, no, there are certainly. It's just funny because it's like I am like so not a manly man. So it's like I end up. I'm the one that's going to Crystal and be like, no, you should watch Desperate Housewives. I think
So you know what? Then you go read those books that too. But All the Colors of the Dark is probably like my third favorite book.
Okay.
Here, so I was just recommending. And if you haven't read, Justin Cronin also wrote 2 other books besides the Passage series.
I have them. I have not read them
too.
yet, but I have. Like I think the book he wrote before that.
And it's funny because I started out by telling you I don't like horror, but
Mhm.
like a lot of people would call The Passage horror.
Yeah, because it's
maybe.
got that zombie vampire thing going on, but it's not like.
And it really is. It's my favorite series of all time.
Yeah.
I gave all 3 books 5 stars. And like I said, I never give books 5 stars.
Yeah.
I just love it. Did you watch the TV?
I did
adaptation?
not, because here's the thing.
Don't.
I didn't watch the TV show because it was on free TV, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna suck."
Yeah.
Like, there's no way they can make this right while being beholden to the parameters of broadcast television. If it had been for
You are
streaming
correct.
or HBO, I would have totally been on board. But I was like, "Oh, they're making," and then it was like, "Oh." Now, a book that I feel is kind of similar to Passage, Silo or the Wool.
Yep.
Wool series.
I read that trilogy too.
Yeah.
We did not finish the first season. I think my husband liked it. My son and I were bored by
Yeah.
it. Like, I loved the books, but I thought the pacing was too
A
little
snoozy
slow.
for me.
I don't disagree. Like, we did finish it. We're getting ready to start season 2, but I will say the book like grabs you by the throat
Yeah.
and just
You can't
like-
stop reading.
and you're just
Silo.
like, what the hell is happening
Yeah.
here? Like, it was really good. Hugh Howey, author of Silo series, by the way, is a Peloton user.
Yes, he is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
You know who's the famous, other than Sarah Goodman Confino, famous author, Peloton user, who at least for a time was in Peloton Moms Book Club, is Ellen Hildebrand.
Yeah.
She's been on the
she's
show
been
too.
on the show.
Oh, she's been on the show.
Yeah.
So see, you already know that. But and actually, and her username is like Ellen. I can't remember what it is. It's something that like it's very obvious that she's her.
Yeah.
Whereas some people are trying to like hide that it's them.
No,
And
she
had a
likes
big
it.
following on Peloton Moms Book Club. Now Sarah Goodman Confino is, the darling of Peloton Moms Book Club.
well, she was very nice.
She is.
Yeah.
She's a very nice person. I love her.
Well,
She is.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and taking way more time out of your day than originally anticipated because of all of our issues on our end with the technical stuff. But before we let you go, like, remind everybody where they can find you in all the places.
Oh, okay. So on the Peloton leaderboard, I'm XJenn, and on Instagram, if you want to follow my book account with a side of Peloton, it's electric and then like _ Bookaloo.
Buckaloo. Love it.
Love it.
Love it.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
We really appreciate
Thank
you
you
very
guys. This was
It
fun.
was.
Once we got to do it.
Once we got to do it. Exactly.
A clip out.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next time, where can people find you?
Hold on. You didn't say the birthdays.
I didn't. Well, we'll say them here.
Okay.
We'll see how many people stick around to the end.
Say birthday, and you too can wish these 2 people a happy birthday.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
not doing that again.
Don't have us give away something again.
I know that
Turned into such a project.
It did.
And
Sorry.
normally those sorts of things turn into projects for you.
Oh, so now that it
But-
affects you.
But it turned into a project for me.
Yeah, one
and that's
time.
not funny.
At least you're honest. Points
Yeah.
for honesty, Tom.
So birthdays. Surprise birthday sweeper here.
Peloton birthdays.
Thank you, editors. Jenn Sherman is celebrating her birthday on December 1st.
Happy birthday to Jen Sherman.
And on December 5th, it is the birthday of one Tunde.
And she doesn't need a last name. She's like Adele.
Exactly.
She's just like Tunde.
Also, it's really hard to say her last name.
I know. I was just giving another reason.
And she has such a unique first name.
She does.
Right? If her first name was Jess, we could not just call her Jess.
That's true. That's true.
So
it's absolutely true. But happy birthday to Tunde.
Absolutely. Okay. So now, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe. They can also find me on social media at Clip Out Crystal and on the Peloton leaderboard at Clip Out Crystal.
And you can find me on Threads and Blue Sky at Tom O'Keefe Jr. or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/The Clip Out. And of course, don't forget our Patreon. This week's episode is free. So swing on by patreon.com/The Clip Out.
We're going to go record it now.
And get your free membership, and you can listen to extra content. Hear all about the Lululemon Bandits. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pedaling.
And running.
And rowing.
Bye.
Clip in, set yourself